This is a 64-foot solar-powered yacht which is currently for sale for $2 million. I was given the keys to use this boat as I liked for over a week with my family for free. What's more, they included Captain Mike to take care of us on our journey. Let me back up a second here and explain how we got here. This all began in February 2020. The yacht's builder and I were exchanging messages on Instagram as I was fascinated by the concept of electric propulsion and solar power. I said that I would love to get on board one of their yachts and take it for a sea trial someday. Then this happened.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
We will be suspending all travel from Europe.
From Italy this evening, it just gets worse.
Over 2 years later, on the 4th of March 2022, I received this message from Silent Yachts. After a video collab didn't work out last year, unfortunately, we wanted to make sure we get something done together for this year. Would you still be interested in coming on board? Let us know and we can get the ball rolling. After numerous video calls and messages, finally we agreed that we could have one of their yachts for 8 days. I have no idea how this happened considering that I was only interested in a visit and a sea trial. 4 months later, we packed our bags, called a cab to the airport and jumped on a plane to Palma, Majorca. We met up in Port Adriano on the west side of the island with my dad and the Duchess. Following morning, we released the mooring lines, zapped some electricity into those electric motors, made our way out of the port on a steady heading to Ibiza. What do you reckon, Dad?
Brilliant. So quiet.
It's silent.
Absolutely. No weight, no nothing.
No pun intended.
It's unbelievable.
There's no vibration. Doing 5 knots. Unusual in the sense that I'm just not used to it. That's what it is. And the nice thing is we got a following wind as well. Nice thing with the following wind and following sea to help push the boat with us, which means we'll get a better speed. See now, as you saw in the drone shot, we closed the sunroof lids to get the most efficiency out of those solar panels to regenerate those batteries. While we have a 12-hour cruise ahead of us, let me give you a bit of insight into how this yacht works. Now combined, these solar panels generate 13 kilowatts peak, and this boat is propelled by 2 electric motors which are 20 kilowatts each. You see directly behind me, we have a generator cover here. This produces 18 kilowatts. The size of the fuel tank on board this boat is actually 1,200 liters. The boat is fitted with 16 200 amp hour batteries on each side, has an average cruising speed of around 5 knots. Onboard consumption, that includes the fridge, the freezer, the ice maker, the washing machine, dishwasher, we have the air conditioning, the water heaters, the water maker, oven, stove, coffee machines, we've got the televisions, we've got the toaster, Captain Mike has been baking his own bread on board. So we worked out we're using on average 3 kilowatts every hour. My wife Jiv got into the galley and sliced up a beautiful fruit salad for us to enjoy on our journey. Later that evening, we arrived on the east coast of Ibiza and Captain Mike pointed the boat into a bay as Jiv was busy arranging the final details for a client. If you didn't know, Jiv is a charter broker for Mortlock Yachts, so be sure to contact her to book your next yachting vacation. Mike then connected a bridle to the anchor chain and then dropped the anchor. Right, so there we have it, chaps. That's our anchor spot for this evening. We took some photos, cracked open a cold beer as Dad cooked up some chicken and veggies. Then we called it a night. The following morning, we set our route to Formentera. What's this marina called again? It's called Santa Eulalia. Formentera is a smaller island to the south of Ibiza, but we had to make an unplanned stop to the pharmacy as Jiv was feeling nauseous. But why would someone that's worked in the yachts for the last 12 years feel nauseous and seasick? Did you guess it? Yep, it was time to celebrate as Jiv was pregnant with our first baby. We continued our cruise south. The wind picked up a bit and noticed a boat in distress. It turns out they had broken down and another boat was towing them back to port. That afternoon, we arrived in Formentera, found a beautiful anchorage and took the tender ashore to stretch our legs and have a swim. If you want to enjoy a summer holiday on board a yacht here in Formentera, and get in touch with us. info@mortlock-yachts.com. It was time to put on the goggles as I needed to inspect the underside of the boat. Here we have the portside bow thruster. You can see a bit of growth but not terrible, and the sacrificial anode still looks good. Here's a good perspective on how an anchor bridle works on a catamaran.
a quick look at the starboard side bow thruster, and finally the shafts, P-brackets, props and rudders. I got out pretty quick as there were a few jellies floating around and these little guys can pack a punch. That evening, Jiv cooked up some fish which she caught from the freezer earlier that day. We watched one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen over what's known as the Dragon's Head off Ibiza. We spent a few more days in Formentera, then it was time to head back to Majorca as we had some bad weather coming in.
What we are doing is we are obviously cruising with the roof down. Once the sun comes up, we want to maximize the usage of the solar panels. This is Formentera there, and that is Ibiza over there. I'm going to pass through the north and south cardinals. In the comments box, can you tell me the light sequences for a north and south cardinal? That'd be great. Bit of a clue, think about a clock.
We were happy we left when we did as the weather conditions were perfect for the entire 12-hour passage to our anchorage in Majorca. I put a Q&A post out on social media and one of the questions was how many litres of diesel did we consume on the passage? So I asked Captain Mike to respond.
So we had the passage of 12 hours. We started with nearly full battery and we ran about 8 hours on the battery power. And then we started the generator for the last part of 4 hours. So the generator is running 18 kilowatts and it's consuming then about 5.5 liters per hour. So if you calculate 5 liters per hour, it would be in 4 hours, 20 liters.
That night, a thunderstorm came in and it brought plenty of wind with it.
Currently at anchor, what's the name of this bay, Mike?
Santa Ponza.
Santa Ponza. So we're anchored, you can see we're here.
Yeah.
And we lost one of the cushions. 300 meters away, did you say?
Yes, I would say.
More or less?
Yeah.
All the way there, he's been looking through binoculars and he found it. So Dad, are you ready for a rescue mission?
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we do it?
We launched the tender and cranked up the mighty electric outboard.
Rescue missions.
All for cushion.
All for a cushion, let's do this.
If you've ever cruised the Med, you'll be very familiar with the infamous red rain.
I'll go and grab it quickly.
Captain Mike must have the eyes of an eagle to spot that cushion from that far away through the binoculars. We were very happy with our successful rescue, so let's head back to the boat as I would like to show you some of the helm equipment. Right, this particular model is fitted with a Raymarine GPS plotter, the Raymarine radar, Raymarine autopilot. Here on the pillar we got the Raymarine VHF radio. Radar arch, we also have the Raymarine FLIR camera. Dual bow thrusters, they're 10 kilowatts each. These are the throttles for the two 20 kilowatt electric motors, and these will be the two control panels which monitor the RPM, the temperature of the two electric motors. Later that evening we headed to shore to have a walk around the town. I spotted with the drone this beautiful villa and noticed it had a cannon. We headed back to the boat for a bite to eat, and I'm sure now you want to see the interior. We go into the port side forward cabin, and this is where we have been staying. So you can imagine waking up in the morning. I'm sure you can't see pretty too bright, but look at the view. I have to say, in all honesty, sleeping on this bed has been some of the best night sleeps I've ever had. In my opinion, it's the best way to enjoy a boat. I mean, going to bed at anchor, waking up at anchor, there's no better feeling. Going forward into the shower, the bathroom, look at the sheer size of this shower. It is massive. Toilet, your wash basin. Come down the stairs here into the master cabin. Huge shower. I mean, you couldn't ask for a bigger shower. We got the big skylight there. Dressing area, your wash basin, mirror for all your toiletries. All this is storage. Not only that, we also have the walk-in wardrobe. Now, interestingly, this master cabin comes with a double bed and a single here as well. Not your typical layout, something a little bit different. So you have your outdoor living area. As you come inside, on the same level, you've got like an indoor, outdoor type of galley. You've got this salon. Underneath where Mike is sitting here, you've got the TV. That just pops up. So you can be here if it's raining outside, chilling in the salon, watching the television. The day after, we headed back into Port Adriano. Dad and I put the fenders out. Mike drove her in as we needed to dock back in her berth.
For me, it's a little bit odd because all these years, having been kind of in charge of the boats, not being captain, has been pretty weird. Let me just show you, Dad, where the lines go, the stern lines, because we've got stern lines and spring lines. So my guess, what makes sense to me, is obviously the stern lines will go to the dock, come through this fair lead through here, and then to there. Exactly. And this cleat goes to the spring lines.
Yeah.
No, we were between 2 boats when we left. See, the lines were still on the dock.
Yeah.
So there's sunny yachts directly above. There's two. That's the old office. That's the new office above. Yeah, all good this side. Yeah, he's definitely done this a few times. That's why I got it. He's got it. All good. All good. Beautifully done. I'm going to open this hatch, so if you step down, be very careful, okay? Nope, all good. I was flown to Germany and given this €350,000 150 kilowatt boat to use for 2 days. Click this video to watch. See you next time.